In an interview with Asaase News, the Dabenhene of the Techiman traditional area, who is also the chief of Kenteng in Techiman, Oheneba Nanowusu Nchibuesiako, asked his subjects not to hesitate in reporting such people to them.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's a decision that we have to take. Oh, our culture doesn't allow us to do this. You understand? So some of these things are things that we don't expect as a traditional council. You understand? So if some of these things are coming out within advanced jurisdiction, we don't see it as something welcome, something that we see as very bad and we shouldn't be encouraged in our society. Morally, it's not good. Medically, it's not good. Definitely, it's not good. Traditionally, it's a taboo to see some of these things. So once a purpose within our society or within our jurisdiction, what happens is that the first offense, we take it to the palace, the slaughter sheep. You go on your head, then even if it demands that we have to lash you, we will know that. They will banish you from our society. We don't want a situation whereby we live within the society for people to emulate this bad attitude or bad practices that you have brought into our society. So that's all the things. After all going through the normal traditional rubrics, we'll banish you from our society. We will not allow you to live within our community. We are encouraging people to suspect, to report suspected people or suspected cases to the police and to the Kaiser Council. And when we identify this, we'll collaborate with the security agencies to operate in this area because Ghana, we haven't gotten to this level and we don't want to reach this level. It's not good. It's not good. We don't want to.
You heard Dabenhene of the Techiman traditional area, who is also the chief of Kenteng in Techiman in the Bono East region, Oheneba Nanowusu Nchibuesiako. Away from that topic, and the National Commission for Civic Education, that's the NCCE, has begun a public engagement to reach out to Ghanaians across the country on the COVID-19 vaccination exercise to commence this week. The Commission in recent weeks has been hit with criticism over its role in sensitizing the public on the COVID-19 vaccines, as many believe it has more work to do in that regard. However, Deputy Chairperson in charge of operations at the NCCE, Samuel Asaare, said even before the arrival of the vaccines, the Commission had already started public engagement to disabuse the minds of the public on any form of misinformation about the vaccines and the vaccination process.
The NCC already has a plan in place. Our officers are already doing public education on COVID in general. The arrival of at the point we were expecting the arrival of the vaccine, we added that component of the vaccine to our public education and engagement. Now we are still doing that in terms of giving out messages on the vaccine education, especially ensuring that the kind of myths and fake news surrounding the vaccine are defeated.
Still on COVID-19, and the Etiwa West District Assembly has begun a campaign to ensure people within the district abide by the COVID-19 protocols. The district has so far recorded 19 positive cases of COVID-19. In a stakeholders meeting to sensitize the residents on the need to avoid contracting the virus, the district chief executive Isaac Akumwening Asamoah stressed the need to ensure the virus was contained.
On prevention of this COVID-19 ni protection. Say ubiabi di emra abaya hihye no so. Emra eye say na yade no enkan na kokan akwaye part of our body. Say sisi ni de ubia be hye nose mask na ma. Ubia be social distancing. Ubia be use sanitizers and a washing of hands. Enu na enne no yasan afre asori enwo hani nyina ene GPRTU any Muslims for enwo hani nyina ama ubia sanitizers and nose masks. Yepefi the man phone say yaye jungle ejama assemblyman bia on the Rubia Communication Center ebodewu ewo yande no ho.
The district chief executive for Etiwa West District of the Eastern Region, Isaac Akumeninga Samwan, he was saying that they want to put regulations in place to ensure that people respect the COVID-19 protocols to avoid its spread in the area. And it's the reason they've decided to call churches, transport agencies and other stakeholders to the sensitization program to send the message across. They intend to give a mask and others to stakeholders to protect them. Now, the National Peace Council says it has set a target for itself to bridge the gap amongst political parties and the Electoral Commission in the country. The Executive Secretary of the Council says the events that took place during the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections have intensified the political polarization in the country, and there is a need to deal with this to prevent it from degenerating. The comments come after a 3-day orientation program organized by the Council for the new board members who were inaugurated by the President last year. In an interview with Asaase News, George Amos said this has become necessary to keep the sanity of the country.
The Peace Council is going to focus on bridging the gap, the political, for emphasis sake, political gap between and amongst the political parties and the political parties and the electoral management body, besides other state institutions, of course, including the Peace Council itself. So the focus, we've realized that polarization has become very top issue in the country, particularly after these elections. We are expected to put in the mechanisms, that will create the trust and confidence that we all expect to build ahead of the 2024 elections.
George Amu is the Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council. Let's end with some African news from Nigeria. And the police have launched a search and rescue operations for 317 girls kidnapped from a school in the state of Zamfara. The operation comes as 42 people kidnapped from a boarding school in a similar incident last week in Niger State were released. The kidnappings are carried out for a ransom and are common in the north. President Muhammadu Buhari condemned the latest kidnapping as inhumane and totally unacceptable. The United Nations Children Fund also condemned the abduction of the girls and called for their safe release. And that'll be all for the news here on Asaase Radio. A recap of our headlines. President Akufo-Addo makes his stance clear on same-sex marriage as he says it will never happen under his presidency. And Peace Council sets itself to bridge gap amongst political opponents in the country as it says the event that took place in the 2020 elections have polarized Ghana. Many thanks for your time. There's more news on AsaseRadio.com. My name is Karen Dodo. Good morning.